Moreover, when you fast, do not be like the hypocrites with a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear to men to be fasting. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. This is from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 6, verses 16 to 18. This is Jesus's proclamation for fasting. And actually, he's not giving a message necessarily on fasting alone. He is talking about fasting, obviously. But it seems to me he's talking about something a little deeper, and that's hypocrisy in the church. People proclaiming that they're doing something amazing for God, and not really doing it, or not sincerely having their hearts in tune with God while they're doing it. They're mainly just pretending to be godly for the sake of their audience. That's not a situation that's overly popular now in America anyway. There is virtue signaling. So I guess the same thing could be said. Don't virtue signal. Don't do things just for clicks and likes, but do things because they're sincere to you. It doesn't mean you're not going to get clicks and likes. If you're doing something online for the glory of God, praise God, there's nothing wrong with doing that, I don't think. When it comes to fasting, nowadays, I don't think Jesus here is calling for everyone to be quiet about fasting. I don't. I think that would be hard to do. Picture this, you're part of a community, right? Israel was all about community. But even if you are kind of a secluded kind of person, you still have probably community around you of some note. You have your family, or you have your church, or you have wherever you go. You have a job, wherever you go and meet people at. It might be kind of hard for most of you, at least, to get away with not eating and not be noticed, right? So people are going to be like, if you're fasting, why aren't you eating? And then what are you going to say to them? If you believe Jesus here is saying, keep it secret and only acknowledge it to God, which if you can get away with doing that, praise God, that's cool. I don't think I could do that. Yeah, obviously I have my family. I don't think my wife would be like, are you not eating today? What's going on? Is my cooking bad? I have to say, no, I'm fasting, honey. I'm fasting to God. Okay. I don't think that's a bad thing to let people know you're fasting. I think that in my case, what I'm doing is I'm creating a video experience of the fasting situation. Probably not the best quality video service you're ever going to see on the matter. And you could probably find better information elsewhere where they have somebody who's a little bit more experienced in doing videos and things of that nature. I am, you're going to hear a lot of rambling from me, unfortunately, because I'm not overly good at making videos and putting them on YouTube. But I will say that I think for the most part, even in the Bible, there was corporate fasting. There were times when the nation of Israel called for a fast. The king called for a fast. There's one point where Esther and Mordecai called for a fast because things were changing and they needed to really touch base with God, and they needed to kind of purge the world out of them, so to speak. When the disciples met after Jesus ascended, and all the disciples came together in one place, they were of one accord and they were fasting in prayer and fasting multiple times throughout Acts. You see the disciples fasting and in prayer together. So I don't think Jesus is calling us to fast in a closet. It's the same argument comes up with prayer, right? So Jesus calls us to pray in secret. So pray to your Father in secret, and you will be rewarded in secret, or you will be rewarded openly. Same thing goes for that. I mean, Jesus, there is times of corporate prayer, and it says where two or three are gathered, pray. And the prophets would pray in the open. David's psalms are prayers, right? They're songs, but they're also prayers, and they're meant to be a community experience. So if you see a preacher or something praying in the open, he's not necessarily flaunting it and doing what Jesus is trying to stamp out hypocrisy here, plain and simple. So anyway, an update on my fasting. I am 1 week out. Midnight has come and gone, so therefore I have stopped drinking caffeine. I stopped eating overly sugary things last week. That went pretty well. I do have a Mountain Dew here that I was drinking up till midnight. I drank that much of it. Before that, there was root beer in there. I was watching it, but the whole week I'd been without sugar, and I realized that my caffeine situation was drawing to an end at midnight, and I wasn't going to be home in time to have my last cup of coffee. The only thing I could get, and I didn't have any money on me, the theater I had paid for way before I'd actually booked it, and I had enough gas to get my daughter and me to the movies and back home again. And I had a gift certificate thing on my Regal Club card, so I was able to get a drink. And I knew I had to get some caffeine in me before I quit my caffeine at midnight. So I'm quitting caffeine, or I quit caffeine at midnight about 2 hours ago, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. And so far it's going great. You know, I'm still awake. I'm driving home. I got about half an hour before I actually make it back to my neck of the woods. So this week is going to be rough for me. Quitting caffeine is not easy. The reason I'm doing that now, in case you're just tuning in, is that I'm going to be doing a 40-day fast, and the fasting experience in the beginning, for me at least, is rough, because as I was watching a video this week on YouTube, this doctor giving a seminar in Florida hospital doctor. And he was talking about the benefits of fasting. And he said that fasting won't cause any problems with you. I mean, most people can fast without any side effects or anything like that, unless you are unless you're into sugar, and if you're into caffeine, because you are junkies, right? So I'm a junkie. I'm a junkie for caffeine. I'm a junkie for sugar. So fasting for me, the first week at least, is rough because I'm detoxing. It's not an easy experience in the beginning, and it actually causes me to go to God in deep prayer to get over that hump. Once I'm over that, at least from my experience before, 11 years ago, it was an awesome experience after that, but that first week was really hard. So just keep me in prayer. I'm doing well so far. The sugar week wasn't too bad. I didn't have any really weird feelings or health or anything. It was harder to find things to eat on occasion. I wasn't eating the sugary cereals, and I wasn't drinking soda all week long until today. I had some at the movie theater, but that was it. And I kept up with my caffeine. I just wasn't putting sugar in my coffee in the morning, but nothing really bad. A little gas, I'm going to say. I did get gassy, and it was extremely bad smelling, foul smelling, and that happens when you if you're a sugar junkie and you quit sugar. That's definitely going to be a side effect, and sometimes it does follow with headaches and all that, and I was expecting maybe something of that nature, but I didn't get any of that. So this week's going to be caffeine. I'm going to have some headaches. I know I'm going to. I've quit caffeine before. It's not nice. It's not nice at all. So I'll be fine today. Today's Sunday. I'll be fine for like 30 hours. And after 30 hours, I am going to be in pain. So I will be getting back in touch with you throughout the week. I did weigh myself this morning. I'm 200.2 pounds. So I'm over the 200 mark. At least I was, well, I'm sorry, yesterday morning. I was at least yesterday morning over the 200 mark, which is kind of my goal to keep until I fast. I don't want to get under 200. It'll be fine if I do. I know that my weight will level out. I also wanted to make a note real quick before I sign off. If you're thinking about fasting, but you're thinking of fasting purely for the sake of health reasons, I suggest you do it. And one of the reasons I say that, and I mention it, is because whenever somebody thinks of fasting, they think it's gotta be only done for religious reasons, especially if they're Christians. They have to do it if God tells them to do it, if they feel it put on their hearts, or anything of that nature. But it is healthy. It's healthy to fast. It's healthy to fast on occasion. We'll be talking a little more about that as we go through the fast. If you're fasting because you want to be a healthier person, definitely do it. You don't have to be a Christian. You can be a Christian. You don't have to do it because you feel like this is good, God's telling me to do it. Fasting on a regular schedule is actually a very healthy thing to do. Just going to let you know, throwing that out there, because I know some people are like, well, God hasn't really told me to fast. Fasting is good for you. It really is. And while you're fasting for health, lift it up to God. Everything you do should be lifted up to God. As Christians, we are called to do everything for the glory of God, including all the things that we do for health reasons. The way we eat, the way we sleep. Every time I go to sleep, well, I should, not every time, but I do on occasion. Lord, I want to dedicate this sleep to you. And your sleep might even be a little more restful if you do something like that. Lift up a prayer before you go to bed. Anything you do for sleep or for health or for comfort, lift it up to God. It's okay. It's okay if you're doing it for health and comfort. Everything we should do should be lifted up to God anyway. So that's my spiel on that. Praise God. I'll see you guys later on this week. I'll try to tune in while I'm in the kind of the heat of the painful moments, so that you guys can kind of witness that a little bit. And then we'll go from there. All right. God bless you. Have a good night.